girl, what you wine on this? Big body girl, what you wine on this? Big body girl, what you wine on this? Big body girl, what you wine on this? Big feel 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 girl, what you wine on this? Used to be babe, now I'm just my man. Wish you get stuck. Can you hold my hand? Woke the ancestors up with the loudest thing. Now I'm filling my cup. Can you overstand? I don't do this stuff. I was over that. Ain't got much trust. I roll with cap. I'm soaking love. The culture less. The concrete mind. And a cozy bed. Big body girl, what you wine on this? 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 Big pillow 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 girl, what you wine on this?
Can you throw it back? Cause you are me. Being a yard good, make you wine on it. Can you throw it back? Cause you are me. Being a yard good, make you wine on it.
Big body girl, what you wine on this? 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 Big pillow 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 girl, what you wine on this?
Just like we're ready. Hello, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the pre-New York session. Hi, hello from Cyprus. Hello, hello. We have price currently moving bearish on gold. We're down 1.19% right now. I'm kind of leaning more bearish on my bias for the day. Still expecting these lows to sometime be taken out. Soon. You got, like, obviously we still have that same analysis over here. I'm still waiting for that really big move down below $4,000. But first and foremost, let me look and see what we have here for news today. On a Friday, we have nothing. Employment cost index, not too important over here. Yeah, we got nothing. Okay, awesome. So 8:30, we only got that employment cost index. It's an orange folder, so I'm not really expecting too much from it. So I think we should be in the clear. Just focus on some technical work for the most part. But we can keep that in mind, the back of our head. It sometimes can create a few swings here and there. It sometimes can create a few swings, that orange folder. So we'll keep that in mind, but focus mainly on just the fundamental work for now, which we can see gold slips as US dollar regains footing, heads for first monthly gain in 5. Okay. So gold dropped more than 1% on Friday as the US dollar regained footing, basically. Let me just see what other headlines we got. Gold headed for first monthly gain in months. Wow, not much of a gain. Gold slips, but on track to snap 4-month losing streak. All right, very nice, very nice. 4 months losing streak, huh? But yeah, I don't know much of a gain that they're talking over here, but yeah, we are definitely just consolidating. We're just been holding this range since like June 22nd, coming off of this bearish trend, which has been moving sideways. So right now, what I'm anticipating is we're gonna do like some kind of a small analysis over here. All right, we're gonna look and see what kind of a range within a range that we might have to play within, because I'm already spotting this really major range. I hope everything is good. Sound quality is fine. Yeah, so we got this major range, then we got this other minor range right over here within this zone. So I'm gonna actually refine this maybe a bit with that line tool. Let me go like put it here and then show you what I mean. Here we have, all right, so we got more news from Reuters. Gold slips as US dollar regains footing. Okay, same again. But we got some resistance points up over here. This is like beautiful accumulation. We might be seeing some really nice volume coming out from pre-NY into New York Open for Freaky Friday over here. So if we go on our kill zones as well, let's get like a better idea of what's going on. Asia, open right here. Price tumble down. 1, 2, 3, 4-hour bearish candlesticks. Where is it reacting off of? So we got like a key 4-hour resistance right over here that we have previously rejected from before. Correct? Previous rejection from key 4-hour resistance. So what do you think the probability is now that price goes bullish? You know, I still think it's a pretty low probability here because price is still moving down, and we're most likely gonna be targeting something like these lows, maybe back down to like 4,000 psychological. Right? So again, if you notice something about that, the way I look at markets, I try and be as objective as possible. Right? I don't want to assume that we're going to start skyrocketing here for XY reasons just yet, because the market, it hasn't really proven that to me yet, unless we start to see something flip here on the order flow. But as of now, I would really prefer to see like some more selling, right? We even have previous 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hourly candles still kind of leaning more to the downside. I hope this is gonna line up good with the delta, because yesterday I saw that the delta was not lining up so well. But yesterday we had news at 8:30, so that created a bit of whipsawing. So yeah, since we don't have news today, I hope that things gonna line up here properly again, as we're approaching the monthly candle closure here. It's the last trading day of the month. So if we go back onto the monthly right here, you can see how this month is about to close in 9 hours 40 minutes. It's gonna close like a kind of a doji, it seems. And that also makes a lot of sense with what we're seeing on the other time frames. Like this is on the daily time frame, right? So we have actually just been like a doji this month. So anybody finding like hard to trade in the market, then that's possible a reason that there was not too much decision. There was not too much decisions been made overall. You could definitely secure something off the intraday moves if you got a tight stop loss. But generally speaking, I feel like a lot of people would find it more tricky in those conditions. Like objectively, I think a lot of traders have really big stop losses. But yeah, so right now, that's what we're kind of like looking at here on the 4 hour. We got that like little bit of a structure. So if we just hit the 4 hour resistance, then this will be the next probability target. So yeah, then we're going to have the next target for sells down here by 4,000 psychological. Actually, we can just mark that one like this and put here 4,000. So got 4,000. Psychological. That's going to be our next target for potential sells. And if you notice what's happening again, let's dive even further in and go into the 5-minute time frame. And here you see essentially the same pattern that's happening on the 4 hour time frame. Right? We got some kind of a resistance here. We have like a support, which I think I'll just use the line tool for this. And it's kind of like holding within a range here of about 80 pips. We're holding like an 80 pip range coming from previous structure to the downside, where we're creating higher lows. No, lower highs. It's a lower high. Price came down, pulled up, created another lower high. Price came down, pulled up, another lower high. Here and here, obviously. This is, I guess, still a lower high from all of this up here, since we are kind of like leaning more bearish at this moment. So get a little bit more of a bearish bias. Yeah, so more bearish bias, meaning we want to be looking more for sells, preferably. But right here, since we're approaching New York session in about 50 minutes, we're gonna see if maybe we're gonna have some liquidity spikes. We want to see if we can have maybe some sort of liquidity spike. So that's what I'm going to be monitoring here. So I'll call this key zone. So we got a key zone over here. That's going to give us some sort of like an idea of what price is going to do next. And we got our point A, entry point A. So we got our entry point A, which basically means that this is going to be the first move coming out of this zone. Right? So we're basically at inception. We're at inception. Because the thing is, like, when price starts to break out, it's going to start creating structure again, right? Then maybe you're going to get another setup here. Then that's going to be potentially another zone that you're going to be trading, right? So that's going to be inception. So in hindsight, you're going to see it would have come out from here and would be creating you higher highs to continue the move upwards, correct? So this is at inception. At inception is definitely a different vibe. If you have a strong bias for bullish movement, then I think that would be a great entry. But if you wanted something a little bit more solid, you'd want to wait for a little structure first to build in your direction before looking for those entries, right? So this is a point A, because you're not trading with the necessarily the lower high and lower low trend. You might want to be sometimes a bit cautious. You might want to be sometimes a bit cautious about taking that counter movement. Hey, Mr. Rashid. What's up, Vishu? Hey, good morning, Ricardo. I still target 400 pips down. Let's see. I wanted to hold one trade today. Yeah, it's Freaky Friday. Freaky Friday is always nice to like kind of hold a trade. I want to always hold a trade. I always want to hold a trade, but I can't end up securing. I would say I'm going to hold it, and then if it doesn't move easily, then I just secure it. So hopefully I get some good pushes. Like so far this morning, like really good pushes. Because I'm seeing that there's a lot of volume in the market. The candlesticks on the 1 minute are kind of big, or they were big. I don't know about now. So that was always a good sign, because like even if you want to fake you out, it's still going to give you like maybe 1620 plus before pulling back. What's that? Yeah, I got 2 good ones today, then stopped. Nice, nice, nice. I took 1 trade and then went to the gym for a bit and got some materials, building materials that I want to kind of like build later for the house. A little bit of painting, a little bit of tile work. Oh, okay, now look at this. We're breaking here. We're starting to break here. Things are getting interesting. Things are getting very interesting. Things are getting very interesting. Wait. Yeah, all right, so this is a key level. Price and break, we might say, I would say like a key high for price to overall break, so the trend changes, would be here. That's what I would say. I think this would be the key high for price to break. So we could see like a solid, or maybe actually maybe even like right here, because we also got this high. We got this minor high. We'll be breaking 2, but this one just feels a bit more safe. But anyway, let's just remove that for now. Keep it as a naked chart so we can monitor what's happening here, because actually, you know, there's a couple of things that can happen here. All right, so this is a key zone for number 1. We got a price reversal. Number 2, we got a liquidity grab. So that's why that's a key area right over there. So the entry point at point A, and would love to see maybe some potential sells below the support here by like 40.51. And if we investigate a little further, we can see on the 15-minute time frame that we have a support here. So if we do end up getting those sells, we got like 111 pips to the downside, and then whatever happens here going to be that liquidity grab. So the only thing I'm hoping is like the market is not whiplashing, because, you know, again, we don't have any news today, so I don't see a reason why to start whiplashing here. I'd rather expect the bearish continuation down to at least that support by 40, you know, like 40.39 level there. That would be what I would think makes most sense, right? And we got like around a good amount of pips, clean range, 112 pips. You know, that's why I think this high is more of like an important high, maybe right here by like 40.61. Because again, if you break above 40.61, you have all this movement here. It's like 200 pips. 200 pip move. Maybe we might be seeing buys for pre-NY, NY open. So that's why, you know, I'm not completely disregarding any kind of like a buy bias over there, you know, because I'm also noticing a tiny liquidity grab here. But I don't wanna draw this yet, because I feel like I'm just still getting acclimatized to price. But we have a tiny liquidity grab there. But you see, that's why I don't want to draw it, because I'm also expecting one above here. So overall, I'm expecting a little chop, a little bit of chop before volume starts to come in. All right, we see also Delta is looking good, which is surprising, but there's just no activity. Look at this. There's no market orders coming in. It's very quiet. Although the Delta looks pretty good, it's still very, very quiet. So that's why I'm expecting maybe a little bit of chop until we start to see a little bit more activity coming in. So we can just remove that for now in the 5 minute. So yeah, that's going to be a key area right there. And then potentially dump, come down. On the 5 minute, we also got clean range. If you investigate this area over here, you know, if you investigate this area, price had moved up so much. Look at how clean that price moved up right over here. So if we take it onto the right hand side, what do we think is going to happen as price comes down to retest these lows? What's the probability that the way that we moved up here, we don't have levels of structure? Because the market will always look for the path of least resistance, right? So if you got like multiple levels like this, and let's say you get a setup like this and you're looking for a sell, sometimes it can play out in certain market condition like smooth, and that could be like a trap. But most of the time, I think it's so much better to just have, let's say, like price go up, create structure like this, and then price to come down like that, correct? So you're always gonna have like these two scenarios. So you got like scenario A, scenario B. So this is what kind of also determines how good that the trade is going to look, right? So whenever you're looking for your trade setups, you always got to see what kind of a scenario am I in, scenario A or scenario B, right over here. So I think, you know, I like to think price action is universal. Some of you may agree with me, some of you may disagree with me, but I think like when I explain this, I like to think that because I'm a price action trader, that this are almost universal concepts. So you'll find that a lot of price action traders, they actually almost trade similar because of the way that they see the market, right? And no, ICT is not price action. That's just some smart money BS. But if you look at scenario B, over here, that's the scenario that I took for my trade this morning, basically. Right? That was scenario B. So look at the way scenario B played out over here. Right? Beautiful inception on the break over there. On the 1 minute, it also was like clean range for price to continue to push down. We had like around 78 pips to the downside, correct? Price came, retested TFX entry confirmation. As we usually explain, the market will come and balance those entry points because it was significant. Those are quite important areas in the market for getting stuck in positive trades, because there are not that many positive trades in like a whole trading day, I like to think. That's why you should mainly, you know, reduce the trades that you're taking. Just because I say take 1 or 3 trades and you see me take like 7 trades doesn't mean you blindly follow me. Just like stick to one or 3 trades, you know. Some of you will have amazing results just sticking to just 1 trade. But you see this? Yeah, price came down because we had a scenario B situation right over here. See that? And then price came down, a little accumulation, break of the lows, continue to proceed with the volume. No shock in the water, it seemed, at this point. And that's what I love to see, right? And we got also scenario B here. Now, there's a couple of difference in these scenario Bs. So we're going to call it scenario B squared. Yeah, we'll call it scenario B squared. So we have scenario 1, which is obviously the closer support, like I showed you the example. And then we have scenario B squared, where price can sometimes do something like, let's say this, and then later it comes, right? Later it comes to filling that range, correct? Just the same way we got that same range here. It's the same thing, but the only difference is the distance. You see, that would be like a much closer distance. That would be a much further distance. It's the same way for scenario A squared. You can have similar situation. All right. So we're currently in scenario B2 over here. We're currently in scenario B2, which for me, it's not the best because, you know, the issue with this is it includes, or let's say the 5-minute entries don't necessarily, the 1 to 5 minute entries, they don't necessarily play well with scenario B, because now you're looking at a much higher time frame, a much higher time frame gap to be filled, right? So that one would really be anticipating maybe something more like the 15-minute push, the 30-minute push, maybe even the 1-hour push. Correct? Then we'd be expecting a little bit more of those higher time frames to really proceed with the volume, because, you know, the thing is not the problem that price will not come down. It's the problem that the higher time frame creates a fluctuation. Correct? So that's going to kind of shake us on the lower time frame, create like a small earthquake like we had in Japan, and it might shake us out of a position over there. So that's why for me, I think like those scenario B ones, like right over here, those tend to play like a lot nicer in my opinion. They're a lot more clean. They're a lot more predictable. You're able to see certain reversal plays from them, as you can see like here, for example. We had also, you know, a tiny little fakie here. Price broke above, created a new high. And then, but, you know, also gave us that reversal confirmation that we talk about. A reversal confirmation confluence over here too. Started rolling over. Because you see, even again, price moved up like this. Boom. And then it couldn't break on the second attempt. And instead it came down. The only thing that would have been like the icing on the cake for something like this would have been some kind of a liquidity grab. So let's say if this next candle did that and then came down, that would be the icing on the cake right there. But I think overall it did give the warning signs to potential buyers who were in positions maybe like right here. Because, you know, the market sometimes will give you the luxury of giving you like a warning, right? It will tell you like, hey, listen up over here. Listen up over here, Jules. Your trade is going against you. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You can cut your trade, or, you know, you can just watch it bleed. That's what I think that happened over here. So yeah, now we wait. Now we wait. As you see, it's kind of choppy, right? It's choppy because there's not much activity. Even though the delta is looking good, still slightly a little quiet. And you see the difference. You see with like yesterday's trades, how it took a while to get the ball rolling because the volume came in like, I think like 2 hours into New York. That's when we started seeing the market getting flooded with the bubbles. Started having a bubble bath. But before that, there was no bubble bath. You know, so it's like a lot more difficult. Hey, good morning, Momar. Why everyone thinks gold is bullish? Everyone? I don't know. I think gold is bearish. I think these are just small pullbacks that we're seeing for now for the monthly candle, and then we're gonna start rolling over. I want to see gold come down. Well, let's investigate the Fed. Let's investigate the CME. I don't think I even checked how the results came out there. I don't think I even checked how the results came out. What time now in your city? Oh, it's party time. Now in Wakanda City, it's time to party. Are you trading forex or futures? Forex. But if you want to sound fancy, you gotta say I trade foreign exchange, sir. I'm a foreign exchange trader. Differentiate yourself from all those influences now. Everyone becoming a forex trader, right? Am I right? Everyone now is a trader. Everyone now is saying, man, I started trading 5 years ago. Oh, you didn't know this? I was trading 5 years ago. So now instead of saying forex, let's say you trade foreign exchange. Hey, morning, Kevin. Yeah, but look at this. This right here, we have no change, 33.7%. On the CME, we got a hike at 66.3%. So when you say like people are looking at buys on gold, I'm also not sure why. Because, you know, I can only give you information based off of the data that's been presented to me, right? I can't tell you guys that price is going to go up with a buy and then justify that with some technical analysis. I can only show you based off of the data that we all have access to over here. So this is straight from the CME group, and they're expecting an interest rate hike on the dollar. That means gold should come down. And even if you look at the DXY, it's already prepping on the monthly to move up. So I don't know. You know, I'd rather be wrong like this than be wrong trying to gamble or prophesize. You know, I'm not a prophet over here. All I can do is look at the data and then decide based off the data what we're going to do next. So yeah, right now we're at interest rate hike at 66.3%. So it's looking good for the oh yeah, I mean, you know, like so when I get paid, like I got some businesses, right? So some of my businesses get paid in dollars, right? And when I get paid in the dollar, I gotta see firsthand if it's going up or down, right? And right now, if you notice that the dollar is going up, correct? And this is very important because if you're gonna run a business, let's say if you run like a development company, or let's say you're a developer, right? And you're gonna build a house for somebody, you gotta be able to at least anticipate how that dollar is gonna fluctuate so you don't lose money on it. So you don't give like a contract where you agree on a certain price and then get paid later and then find out that the dollar depreciated and then you end up losing money. Correct? So I'm already anticipating that the dollar is gonna really increase in value soon. So that's gonna be really good for business as well. You know, so you can already see that if some of you are getting paid in dollars, let's say you're paying attention to this, then you can already see that it is increasing. If you live in a foreign country and you're getting paid in dollars, you can already see that it's slightly increasing. Correct? So I think, you know, that's going to be pretty good here in the near term, because I feel like the dollar took like a huge hit and it's been taking a huge hit for a minute now. And, you know, it is still the gold standard. I mean, the standard currency. So we haven't been able to really take advantage of prices moving up in a while on the dollar over here, because you can see that on the DXY price just pretty much just accumulated for a while, and then overall rolled over, sold off. Now we're holding some kind of a support here, and I think, you know, we can start. This is the monthly time frame. So we've been holding these lows here for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now we're starting to break out on the 13th month. Right over here. So it's been a while. It's been a while since we've seen stimulation into the US economy over there. So it would be nice to see that recovery coming soon. So that's what I'm expecting very, very soon over here. So I think that's gonna look pretty good. Correct. So right now, PA is just slightly a bit slow. I can see, okay, we're starting to get a bit more activity, but it's still overall a little bit quiet. So we're gonna keep monitoring this level over here to see. You see, we got that resistance. Let me see if that lines up with the 15-minute resistance too. So that's the area that I'll be looking for, like a key, you know, because right now we're creating lower highs, and now we've actually created, if you notice, equal highs right over here and here. So we've created equal highs. So that means this range has also increased. So now we have the range from here to here. Correct? Now we have the range from here to here. So that's going to be the first point where I think you're going to create the first higher high, and then price may continue to move up. With a one-on-one personally with you, yes. There's a very special way that I conduct that session. Do you withdraw every single day? No, it doesn't make sense. Does Elon Musk withdraw every single day? I don't think so. I'm an investor in foreign exchange market. Exactly. I invest in the foreign exchange. I'm a gold trader. I trade gold. My dentist asked me one day, "Oh, what do you do?" I say, "I trade gold." So he can just assume that I'm in the trenches and I'm out there looking for gold. Because, you know, once you open that door, once you start saying you trade like a day trader, then all these questions start coming up, like, "Oh, teach me, teach me." Or the classic, "Hey, if I give you $100, can we flip that to 200 and split it?" Or something like that. Like, nah, bro. We can't do that. Bro, they're exactly the same thing. Man, I remember when I started trading, and I told my friend Tom, like, "Hey Tom, I started trading right now. You know, I'm trying to like earn some money in the markets." I was like, "Oh, nice. Can I send you $1,000 and then you make profit, you trade for me, and then we split it?" But I remember my mentor had a situation like this, and I remember how he spoke about this, and he said he ended up owing people a lot of money, right? Because he was still not yet where he needed to be. So he actually spent a whole year paying those people back. So I remember that. I was like, I do not want to be in a position like that. It took him a whole year to pay all those people back when he started finding some kind of a consistency. You know, when you trade people's money, they also gonna pressure you a lot. They'll tell you, "Hey, you know, how's it going? How's this? How's that? Why are we in drawdown here? What's happening there?" You know, a lot of headaches. They're gonna come. Like even Elon Musk talks about this. Like he deals a lot with obviously with his companies. They have like these short-term investors who are always going to give a lot of like a headache, you know. And that's why Elon Musk says that he likes retail traders, because he says the retail trader got like more of a longer term perspective. And you can also see that with the Bitcoin space, that these retail traders really expecting Bitcoin, even right now as it's coming down, to still continue to going to like 500k and a million. But some investors, they gotta have like shorter term goals. So you see now the volume is coming in over here. We're getting a little bit of interest. See that? We're starting to have a little bit more interest coming into the market. That's what we want to see. a little bit more interest. But you know, the funny thing is the order flow and the delta has been kind of off since yesterday. It's I believe it's just interesting. Even if you look at the previous hourlies here, we have more buying aggression, yet the candles are coming down. You know, unless this is like a reverse Uno card and you're having absorption having on the higher time frame. That's the only reason, again, I can think maybe that's why. But typically, we should not even be seeing this like this. You know, even like right now, price is moving down and we got delta at 600. We still got the hourly there as a doji candlestick. So I would really love for that to line up because that really gives me confidence. You know, it really gives me confidence. We don't always need it, but it's nice to see that when things line up, we get that confluence. But yeah, you see, this is still that key point. Got some equal highs and we got some, actually we can call this equal lows. We also got some equal lows right over here. Maybe if you go on the 15, you see the spike. See the 30 minute. Nothing, but you see still quite parabolic as well to the downside. If you notice, like from all the way up over here, price is still being parabolic. And don't forget, we also just did the analysis on the 4 hour. So remember, just remember, like 2 days ago, we did the same. We had the same model, if you remember, guys. 2 days ago. This is why it's important for y'all to tune in and see these, really training your eye to see like TFX concepts, if that's what you want. Because 2 days ago, we had a sell, same sample like this, and we had that huge move to the downside. Once those entry confirmations came, because the next possible area was going to target was the bottom of the lows, the bottom of the accumulation. Correct? So it's going to happen potentially again here today. So when you do see confirmations here and price starts to move, just know we're targeting back to 4K. Just like we had the 4K target right over here on this day, I believe, on the 26th, towards the tail end of the stream. That we took that breakout position and we said 4K was the target, and then we came to 4K, we hit it right to the mark and then shot back up. That was on, I think, was it Wednesday? I think that was on a Wednesday. Yeah, it's like right here. This was June. This was a trade right here. This is a trade right here. Came straight down to 4K. Little choppiness, but we came down. It was a magnet. It was a magnet. So this is what I'm assuming is also going, or I'm anticipating is also going to be the magnet. Correct? That is what I'm anticipating is going to be the magnet. That's why we always have these ranges drawn out. You see like this range over here? Look at this, 4072. Magnet. Literally, magnet. 4072. You get your entry confirmation, TFX entry confirmation right here. And then boom. Just know that that's where price is heading to. Now, it doesn't mean you got to be greedy and try and hold it there. But it just means that you're aligned with the market. Correct? You want to be aligned because guess what? What happens if you miss the first entry? You have to already have like an idea of where we're heading. That's why I remember on that day as well, I didn't have my confirmations on the break because price had come up like this. It set up at the highs. I didn't get my confirmation because there was no... It was like ding at break and retest, but then volume started coming like really in the middle of the range. We started to see it push a bit more, and then it came towards that support. But since we had already known where price was going, we weren't fearful to get stuck in once the market confirmed momentum. Because also, as it started breaking that low, we at the same time had a range within a range like this. But we had so much orders flying into the market. At that time, you saw over here that we got candlesticks start to like really rush and waterfall to the downside. So you feel like a lot more confidence once you start to see that. All those orders rushing, and you see like now if I took a trade, like, you know, okay, you know, follow my rules, but like you don't feel so much confidence in a bomber clot trade.
Bomber clot.
So that's why, you know, I'm just gonna kind of like wait over here and then anticipate, and then I think we're gonna have a pretty good day. Hopefully I don't have to grind it out. I think this time I really stick to like maybe 1 or 2 trades. Worst case scenario, since it is a Friday. But remember, we're dealing with scenario B2 right here. So sometimes scenario B2 might take a couple of tries, since there's higher time frames are going to be pulling. Potentially, maybe. We'll see. But that's what we can expect. So that's what we got. Scenario B2 for the day, and I think it's going to be a pretty good move. 100 pip move down to 40.38. Again, look on the 15-minute. You see what it's getting ready for? What does this tell you? It tells us that the market is waiting for something. Right? It tells us the market came from a sell, and currently it's taking a pause here, waiting for the continuation down towards like 40.38. So you see, once you start thinking about trading in this sense, then overall having the overall idea of like also the higher time frame and, you know, where we're currently at on the higher time frame. I think when you take sells and you take positions, you feel somehow more, what do you call it, like more that you're actually learning something, that you're actually getting it. You know what I mean? So I think when you're going to break down price like this, it's going to be a very, very good thing, because this is what we call price action, right? You don't have to overcomplicate it. You know, you don't need them trend lines. You can just use them and then get rid of them. But for the most part, the market's either going to be moving up, down, or sideways. You know, unless you're trading specifically trend line, I wouldn't start drawing them, because I feel with the trend lines, you're going to get a bit confused when you start doing stuff like this and start using levels from really far back and start having these previous situations like this as confluence, and you think this is a bounce to move up. You know, it can create a lot more unnecessary analysis when you could just keep it like simple and trade what the market is doing currently. So yeah, we got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bearish candles. Still got that nice clean range. You see, this is like a scenario, I would say like a B2 still. It's like a scenario B2. I think scenario B was a little bit up here. This was more of like scenario B if you remember now. So we're gonna label this here. Let's get this. This scenario B2. So you see the scenario B1's a lot more nicer, because you're also getting it like at this kind of like almost like inception as well. Right? You can see that little breakout situation that happened here. Nice little SMA confluence in there too. So you also had on the 1 hour that play out beautifully. So you call this a 1 hour 8 SMA confluence for price to come down. Holding price down. Nice little closure as well below support. Got like a nice little shotgun in there. TFX shotgun entry right over here as price came down to fill this range. Pretty long wicks. I could say the range was like 138 pips, maybe 280 pips, because we got some long wicks over there. And then this next range is gonna be around 300 pips. As it breaks that support, and you see as we start to break below this next low, overall we're heading down to 4K. 4K psychological. Right there. So you see there's still a lot more room. There's still a lot more room here for us to keep going. So if you feel like you missed the sells, man, there's so much room. We can still keep on going. The people from oil investment to gold, vice versa. So when oil moves up, normally gold moves down. That's why a war with Iran pushed gold down. Yes, oil up. And normally with war, exactly. Gold moves up, but like it involves oil, it's different. Yep. Funny year. Let's see if it holds here. Would be nice to get a sell with NY open. Yep.
Bring the baseline back around again.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good. So we see on the daily still coming down. Daily change at negative 1.25, which is actually quite heavy as well. There's really big zones over here. Yeah, that would be beyond fantastic if we can get price to hold this level a little bit longer so we can get stuck in properly. If it can come up, create like another support here, play around, NY opens, even with NY open to still play around a bit and then to start coming down, maybe with like a volume coming from the highs. Right? Sometimes I like the volume come from the high because like with the NY open, since it will just be opening as well, you know, that first push is a little bit unpredictable. We have a 50-minute shotgun now forming. I hope it fails so we can consolidate more. Yep. Oh, yeah. We got a 15-minute shotgun right here. It just needs to get through that support. I mean, that wick. 40.50.45. But, yeah. I think, like, people are going to want to sell. It's a Friday. We're seeing already some kind of, like, a direction. Funny enough, we're not seeing aggression. We're not seeing that much aggression. Except like actually earlier we had a bit 1.9, 2.7 million. But yeah, I mean, that's a decent. Overall CVD I guess is bearish. So that's a good sign. So yeah, overall CVD is bearish. Yeah. And the 1 hour just took a liquidity grab. Above here too. You see this? So we've already created our hourly highs. So you see, normally when price wants to move down, it's going to create highs before lows. It's going to create highs before lows. It doesn't always happen, but if you again look at the autonomy of a candle, we should have like at least a top wick. If it just moves down like this without no top wick, it's a bit imbalanced, right? So we'd like rather have price create its highs before it creates its lows. But you see here, sometimes you get so much volume that it doesn't be able to create the high. You know, it's unfortunate. You gotta have a little bit of an impulsive entry. Correct? No high been formed, price just shot down. So again, we're also seeing little hints about strong bearish conviction today. As it's coming down to fill scenario B range. So we are seeing a little bit of that conviction in terms of candles and CVD. Delta, we gotta be a bit more patient. I see it's flipping here as well. So that's what I'm looking at here. That was that wick. That was an hourly high right here. That was the wick. Right over there. Price move up, come down. Yeah, I just need to get below here. Then there's curtains. 100 pip move. But at least we don't have scenario. I would say like those scenario A ones are definitely a lot more. I would prefer scenario B with the struggle of potential higher time frame candles fluctuating than scenario A. I like that. Very nice. Very clean. Spartans are there until NY. Awoo. Awoo. What is your profession? Spartans. We got a Spartan command. Let me see. I don't think so. Wigs, David, off coffee and 6 to 8% payday. What's this? Inside India's gold smuggling boom. I use the quotes to trade. Caught the sell from 40.57.1. 40.57. Oh, nice. More bearish. Last call for Friday. So don't ruin it. Have patience. Everything feels hard in the beginning. That 15 minutes, it's still not yet breaking the lows. It may not break the low. It could just reject that area. Create a new lower low. Fibonacci retracement, which is what I want to see. Fibonacci retracement into NY open, and then big candle come down, give away direction, and then get stuck in. That would be the perfect scenario to come down here. Take the sell. We're gonna have like some Friday sells. Yeah, for the buys, I seriously need some more convincing. I seriously need some more convincing. Since we even have like the Asia Open right here. You see, that's the Asia Open right here. So when you look at it like objectively, price has been leaning more bearish. So Asia Open's been coming down, lower low being formed here. Came down, create a lower high, and it came down again, lower low. So, like, look at this. I took a sell this morning. I think it was a pretty good sell. So we're gonna wait and find out. We're gonna wait and find out. We must wait. Market's so quiet right here. And you can feel the difference, right? Like if you've been trading for a while, like you gotta feel the difference. Like when price moves slow and when price moves fast. If you still don't know the difference, then it means you haven't built a psychological connection with your instrument. If you still can't tell the difference whether gold is moving right now or it's not moving. Because sometimes we can't tell the difference. Especially like for a lot of year one traders, they're not finding it easy to tell the difference because they're not necessarily looking at things like that. That's why like a lot of year one traders, they end up trading basically the whole day. I used to trade like the whole day. Price would come down to a support. 5-minute candle will close bullish at the support. I would take a buy at the break of the high. That's what I used to do. I wouldn't like tell the difference really of what's going on. And like when you reflect, when you like just reflect of how far you've come. Instead of always reflecting of how far you need to go, because like how far you need to go is always going to be like always going to be longer than how far you've come. Like let's look at how far you've come, how far you've already come. It's amazing, honestly. Like those of you who've been trading for like a year plus, look at how far you've come. Just take a moment, imagine the old you, how they used to look at the charts to how you kind of perceive them now. It's a difference. That's what we call progress. And the more of that, you have, the better experience. Completely different. And imagine now you trying to talk to your old self. Imagine you trying to tell your old self what you know now. If you had like a time machine and you could go back to your old self, knowing how you used to look at the charts, like you're going to see the massive difference between the way you previously saw and now, right? Just imagine that for a second. Man, could I even teach my old self? I don't think I could. Maybe I could, but things take time. That's one thing that I've always had to understand, is things take time. So maybe my old self will listen, but my old self also kind of wanted to fail for himself first before like truly listening. So maybe we'll fuck around for a bit longer and then only start listening once we call being humbled, right? It took me about 6 months to be humbled. So if I had a perfect time to go back in time, I would go after 6 months. Because there's nothing I'm telling my old self below 6 months. Nothing. My old self still needed to have some what we call character development. Still needed a few whips here and there, So yeah, take a moment, appreciate it. When you look into the future and you see a high mountain you still gotta climb, look at that mountain and say, this is not how high I have to climb. This is how high I get to climb. It's showing you what you can achieve. Because God doesn't put an obstacle in your way that He does not believe that you can conquer. That's why we look into the sky, we see the moon, we go to the moon. We see Mount Everest, we go to Mount Everest. Is there somewhere that we cannot go? Given the right amount of time, is there somewhere that we cannot go? Soon we'll be going into black holes. Given the right amount of time, we'll go to the bottom of the ocean. All these things are possible. It just takes one person. Just one person to do it, and then everyone gonna do it. We got like a few more minutes here till New York Open. 2 minutes. All right, so I'm gonna pay close attention to what is going to happen now with that New York session open. Now we have to pay real close attention to what's gonna happen with the New York session open here. Now I really have to lock in, because I'm still seeing my potential sells coming in soon. But you see, the thing is, if we start shooting up, We must also find ways to be prepared for a certain scenario where price does not sell, because it's a new session open. And remember what we mentioned with the session opens? Session opens are prone to market shifts. Where's that hour open? Oh, we still got about like 18 seconds. Here comes the players. Lobby getting filled now. Lobby getting filled. Look at this. 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 Lobby getting filled now. You have connected to the New York session realm. Welcome to NY Open, traders. Because, you know, life is like a game, right? Everyone's got to be like a player in this life. So you got all the players coming in here. You just spawned into the New York. Now, how are we playing? Defensive, offensive? People are a little bit cautious. Delta slightly increasing. Would be nice if we can wick a little bit up first. Hello, sir. Thank you for your live mentoring trade. Trade you the best, sir. Thank you for this comment here. Ikasen. Alhamdulillah. Trading to P30 pips it, guys. Very nice. Yeah, this is what I'm not understanding. I'm not understanding how is the delta moving up? Is it opposite day? Is it opposite day, chat? Why is delta been moving up since yesterday? If it moves up, can the candle just move up? Because if it moves down and delta goes up, that's absorption. That's going to be a fake out below here. Potentially. So far, slightly a bit quiet on the New York session open. Someone from the Fed might be speaking. I just got a note here about Hamok speaking. Hello, Bogdanov. Hello. Can you please deploy the bears? Give the buyers no mercy, Bogdanov. All right, dump it. You know who I used to love and you're one watching? This series called Wojak. What's it called? Wojak? Not Bojack. Bojack is a horse cartoon, but it's called Wojak. So man, Wojak is this guy who has the worst luck. Wojak always loses trades. If you type Wojak on YouTube, Wojak trading, and you're having a bad day, man, you're going to have a good day. Because you're going to know that there's someone out there who is Wojak. And you're not as bad as you think. Man, Wojak, he got the worst luck in the market. The market maker literally goes for him. So whenever I had a bad day, man, I would look at Wojak and be like, if this guy can still keep pushing after all of this, maybe I'm not so bad after all. Man, I saw this girl on TikTok. Every single day in the month, she had a losing trade on her journal. Every single day. I've never seen that before. You know, she got to do the opposite of whatever she's doing. Yeah. All right. So price is moving up, but you see it's moving up with a bit of an aggression over here. So I would love for the New York Open to be pretty straightforward, but you see like price had come down and it's kind of losing strength as it's accumulating here, right? It's trying to gain strength to break the lows, but at the same time, usually if you see like price come down like this, and there've been also several bearish candlesticks, it's just something to be a bit cautious about, because we might see a decrease in volume. But during this time, it's normal to see a decrease in volume, so I'm not gonna always try and look at it so technically, and I'll look at it more in terms of like, okay, now we should be having volume, right, with the New York session open. So, but I'm just also keeping that in mind. You always got to be able to, in trading, be very objective. You can't just have your head set on just one thing and always just think of that one thing. You have to be able to adapt. If you can't adapt, you die, as the old saying goes. You know, adapt or die. So that's why I want to see the sells, but I'm keeping an eye on for like any reasons as to why that price might struggle. But so far it's doing what I wanted to do. The only thing I want to see is a bit more seller aggression come in. Ali's being a little suspicious. Does the order flow show only market executions or limits as well? Both. Fed cash carry, if inflation remains elevated, a potential series of small policy moves would be better than waiting and concluding that broader actions were necessary. Are we actually having a talk right now? But it's not scheduled on Forex Factory. Look, buyers push hard. Yeah, they're pushing. So I don't know where you're going to take a buy if we're going to have a talk right now. Let me see. Here. No, not this one. No, wait, not that one. Oh, no, it's 8. Oh, presidential participates in executive time at 8 a.m. That's executive time, right? Ah, man. It's just a monitor. I would still want to see my sell. I think for the buy, I kind of like maybe hold off on the buy for a bit unless I see a liquidity grab and a quick reversal. Then I would get more interested in the buy. Bloody Mary, give me Bloody Mary. Oh, go look in a mirror and then say that 3 times at midnight. Then you're gonna get it. I dare you. Man, what is probably best overall performing broker for this in UK? For trading, I would say ScopeMarkets, the one I'm using, is pretty good. So the spread I'm getting is like 1.8, no commissions. And entry execution is good. Because, you know, like the broker price action and the one on TradingView is not always going to be one-to-one, right? There's always like some slight difference. Sometimes I could take like a buy here at the break of this high, but then that high might not be broken on the broker. So you're going to see with all brokerages, they're always going to have like a slight differentiation. But like I think with ScopeMarkets, it's pretty good. ScopeMarkets, Blueberry Markets, links in the description if you need those. I usually would recommend IC Markets, but they're trash. They become trash over the years. Over the year. Yeah, I've got the links in the description. Where should we get a 250 pip trade? Can you suggest this? This is the problem. You know, your number one problem is you're looking for a 250 pip trade. That's where you go wrong. That's where a lot of traders go wrong, is when they're looking to make money instead of looking to lose less money. But you see, this range over here is like 111 pip range. So if you're looking for 250 pips, all I can tell you, there's a good probability here. If this trade gonna play out, we're going to have price come down to support. We have clean traffic all the way down towards like support here, which is roughly, you know, going to be that 111 pips. And then beyond that support, looking at the 4-hour time frame, price still needs to come and retest 4-hour lows because market is currently accumulating. It's currently moving sideways, the market. So you see from this area down to 4,000 psychological, which is a magnet, that's 492 pips. So there's a potential that when we take this entry, price is going to start heading down towards those key targets. So when I take this entry, because there's no we in trading, right? And it's just the same thing as we had over here. We had this trade, and this trade here, it came down with this clean range. We had around 71 pips. But you see, it came to retest. So this is something you have to keep in mind. Because normally when you're holding trades, correct, most of the time, like your trades are going to get retested, your entries are going to get retested. So most times people are either going to get break evens or losses, right? So for me, what I like to do is sometimes the trade that I take, it doesn't get retested like this. It will just keep going. So I'd rather just eat a few break evens until I get one which actually just completely runs rather than be taking losses. So now you got to also like preempt what are you going to do when price starts to move 100 pips, because you're going to feel like taking 100 pips. Or like if price moves like 40 or 50 pips or 80 pips really quickly, you know, your psychology is going to want to quickly jump into thinking of something else. So you got to like preset those setup and where that you're planning to execute, or if you're planning to break even, or let it breathe and take potentially a loss. But you know, the thing I don't like to do, I don't like to make a winning trade a losing trade. So instead of looking at 250 pips, just look at, you know, maybe 1% today, 2%, 5%. You know, right now I'm up around 2,970. I'm up around 5.94%. Correct? So instead of looking at, oh, I'm planning on securing 20 pips. Man, I don't know how many pips I'm going to secure. I don't know. I might secure 20, I might secure 30, I might secure 40, depending on how the market moves when I get stuck in. But all I know is I want at least 2%, because I'm going to risk 2% and I want to hopefully reduce my risk to 1% and have the trade give me at least 2%. But if it's a good entry and a good push, I might secure more. You know, like this trade that I took this morning, I wanted 2%. But it was a good push. I secured more than this. Because it's easier to make 2% at, let's say, 20 pips than it is to make 2% at 250 pips. Because you gotta imagine if you are swimming in the ocean, right, and you got a shark right over here. As I would like to say this, would you get a better shot to swim from here to here, or would you get a better shot to swim from there to there? Yeah, so that's essentially what the market is. You're swimming through the ocean and you're trying to swim from one place to the next place without the shark trying to get you. So with 250 pips, you're gonna really expose yourself. That's what we call risk on. I want to have risk on and then risk off as quickly as possible. Because I'm already been humbled and I'm already cynical about this environment. So I'm gonna become like a rabbit. You know how a rabbit gonna behave? When he comes and sticks his head out of the hole and he senses danger, if there's like a fox lurking around, he's gonna go back in the hole. And when it's safe, he's gonna go out, he's gonna go do his thing and quickly come back into the hole. Right? If you look at human history, the people who stayed around the bonfire survived the longest. But you always had this one guy who wanted to go away from the light during the nighttime to go maybe take a piss somewhere or you know, want to go on an adventure somewhere. And most of the time, the animal would get that guy. So think about it this way. If this is our bonfire and we're all sitting around the bonfire, you know, we're all telling stories over here, and you say, hey man, I'm not satisfied with this life, I want more. So you gotta go from the safety zone, right? And nobody can help you at that point. Nobody gonna help you at that point until the morning, and then we're gonna go and say, oh damn, shouldn't have done that. That's what happens most of the time, right? You take a sell, you're in like 100 pip profit for the day, your day is going amazing. By the time the New York session's opening, trades are going against you and you end up losing that trade. And it's such a bad feeling to have a winning trade become a losing trade. Looks like we're still holding for New York. New York hasn't been as exciting in the first hour, I feel, this week. It's been more interesting a little bit later. But you see, it's doing what I wanted to do. I just don't know if the delta can flip from here because this is like 1.2 mil at the moment. We're pretty high up. But that's what I wanted to see over here. So when we start to get movement, we're going to see like some kind of a candlestick start rush down, and then we're gonna start to see a lot more orders flying in here. But remember what I said on the hourly, if it wants to move down, we have to create our hourly highs before creating hourly lows, right? So you can see just as this previous candle here went up, create an hourly high, it came down, create lows. This one as well, it's still got about 42 minutes inside of it, so it can still come down, and then that will just live like a top wick over there like this. Correct? So this is still a scenario that we're waiting here. And it'll come down to fill this area, hopefully, you know. Come down to 1 hour support. It's like 165 pips away. But you see this range here, this range is around 108 pips. So, you know, you could either wait for a sell down here or maybe get a setup in here. Because for a buy, it's actually not so bad. That if the buy comes like right here, because you have a point A that's been formed over here as well. But you know, for me, the thing is, I haven't seen that the market it's not yet convinced me that it has volume. So I think I'd be okay with missing on this first attempt, because right now the way with Delta it's looking more bullish, although I want my sells. So since I'm not even seeing such a movement, an aggressive movement, maybe I'm going to be okay with missing out any potential buys for now as I wait for the sells. Yeah, I'm so quiet. We just got like a 5-minute close below support, like a minor support level here. There's a small range below here. It's like 20 pips. Just created its top wick. We're seeing orders flying in as well, which is nice as it's approaching the break of the lows, but it may be a bit too early for me. It's like a shotgun play with accumulation breakout confirmation too. Right here. See maybe some volume coming as it tries to fill this range. We got like some clean traffic here. But I you know, it's like an early entry. So I would say, like, you know, if we start melting from here like heavily, that's gonna confirm to me now like markets waking up properly. I see it also create a few nice rejection wicks to the highs there. Yeah, so like if I see it start to melt like really heavy as we approach these lows, then that could be more interesting for direction, because now that will just be the hourly highs that's been formed, and then now price is gonna be more ready to come down. So it's distributing for them. That's an early entry for them. See, the hourly here is starting to flip as well, which is nice. They've gotten stuck in there properly. Hourly is about to flip. Nice. So they're gonna make some money over there. They just hit the 20 pip target at support. So yeah, I'm still waiting for a bit more conviction, right? But we can see the plays coming. Now the question is, how can Delta flip by the time we get to those lows? But you see markets starting to wake up here. Orders are starting to flood in. Hourly starting to flip. We could just ignore the Delta for now, because now I'm seeing a bit more conviction. Got like 2 minutes for 5-minute closure, so I think like as much as I want to get in here, don't ever wait for the 5-minute closure would be the best case scenario. At least get a new 5-minute open. You know, the tricky thing about it is, like you see, I said the 1 and 5-minute entries don't necessarily play well in scenario B, because these are higher time frame pushes, right? Because this can actually just bleed through this level, because that's the hourly flip. The hourly is flipping, so you could say, you know, screw the 5-minute, screw the 5-minute that it's looking a bit stretched. You see it's looking a bit stretched here, and then it will just continue to move down based off the higher time frames. That's the only thing now that's for me like, oh, if I miss this trade, that's gonna be the reason why. But I'm still expecting like some sells, and you should see a lot more selling activity also come towards like these lows. So I'm gonna be just a little bit more patient. I really do hope it does not bleed because these candlesticks can be very brutal. But you see, now we're starting to get a little bit more conviction in. Look at the orders coming in. Got like 1 more minute. That's why I mean, like, you see, it's a bit stretched. I'd rather just have that next candle come and open and then follow through to the downside. Like that. But at least now it showed us that it's like a little bit awake there. I think like by the time Delta flips, this thing will already be in distribution. Unless it can absorb a bit more here. Like that, if it pulls up to correct some of this push down. And absorb more of the buyers. If it wants to pull up, you know, the idea is once it pull up, it can pull up here because it's already tried to break the wicks here. So if it wanted to pull up against the sellers, it can pull up because it's already broken the wick there. It's retesting this kind of like a break in a retest zone. Yeah, that's the thing with the previous candles as well. The hourly had been moving down, but Delta had been bullish. So Delta is not being super aligned. Could be like monthly candle closing, and could be a reason like this because as a monthly candle is loading, we might be having players on the higher time frames managing positions slightly a bit differently. That's why Delta is not lining up, but CVD is lining up. Hourly really flirting with those lows. Not yet in. It's re-breaking the hourly lows. Got like 1 more minute for the 5 closure too. That's the 1 minute creating a top wick. So if I can get 1,600 to 1,000. Yeah, I'll secure this. I'll secure this over here. Nice. Beautiful. Holy. Holy. Let's freaking go. W's in the chat. Now we're heading down towards... That's 40, 38 over there. I saw like 1,500. I wanted to secure something before the candlestick there closed. Yeah, I think that's gonna be around... I just secured around 2.76%. I secured right now. That plus 350. So now I'm up on the day 8%. I'm up 8% now on the day. So you tell me, chat, is it safer to swim a longer distance or is it safer to swim a shorter distance? Because you're 8.7%, when you're trying to get 300 pips, the bank account will not know the difference between 8.7%, 1,000 pips, or 8.7%. How much does this do over here? I don't even know. It's like 48 pips. But you know, most of the time I'm going to secure like maybe 20 pips, 30 pips, something like that. 10 pips, 16 pips. That's it. Because you see, that's a shark right there. You see how the shark came in? You see how the shark came in? It came in quick. I said, oh, no. I'm making the money. This is not what I meant to do. Loss. And then it goes in that direction. Then it says, okay, no more people in this trade, or like very fewer people in this trade. Now I go in that direction. You see, like this is going to happen sometimes, but the thing is you always want to expect it happening. You always want to expect that it's going to happen, right? Even though, like, you know, this sell this morning was a pretty good sell and it came to retest it later, you still always want to expect that that shark is going to come in and he's going to want to fiddle around with your position a bit, you know, and that's when all that psychology problem is going to come in. So I think that's what he went to do. He went to just quickly spike out those players right there. And he might be looking to continue in this scenario. So like also this is going to be sample sized, right? This scenario here, you're going to sample size it. How does price typically behave on my entries? You see, so that's one. We can have a probability of that. Quick spike like this. And we can also have a probability of the retest coming in later, like this. And it can also look similar, like, you know, how long that it takes, the time that it takes. Sometimes you see like a retest like this, it can happen, let's see, in the following candle can come like this. Even the next 5 minutes can come and retest. Sometimes that retest is gonna take longer. It can take much longer to come and then retest it at a different time as well. So these are just all ways that the markets are always going to look at balancing out positions, right? Because remember, trading in a sense is a zero-sum game. So if it's a zero-sum game, if someone has to lose money for you to make money, how can you put yourself in the best possible position to continuously make money? Yeah, it's pretty good. That's why I said, like, for now, I don't think the delta was going to be working, because it's just not the case. But you see, finally it's flipping here. We're at negative 300k. Orders are coming in. You see, players are coming in. So you always ask yourself the question, like, where are these players coming in who are always making profit. Why am I always losing money? And who's making the money? Because when you gotta lose money, someone's gotta make money. Right? And these certain areas that over the years I've just called like TFX concepts, that's where I've seen, even before using order flow and just understanding naked charts, I've seen those areas have held a lot of value over the years. So I can say like I'm getting a seat at the table whenever I get my entry confirmations. And now with the order flow, which I started using this year, I can now visually see what's been happening, what I couldn't see in the previous years. So you know, it's an amazing thing. That's why when you gotta learn how to read price action, it's already enough. And when you gotta use like order flow, it's gonna give you even more confirmations. It's brutal. This 13:30 London time, open normally. It's at 6:30 AM. Today was shit, but normally really nice. Just need the setup. Yes. Just need the setup. Just need the setup. And we waited. We waited for this trade since here. Since 7 AM. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Something close to genius. Well, when he's around, you've
Beautiful.
always got a
Freaky
chance.
Friday. I was hoping this was just gonna completely melt. Could have secured like, how many pips is this? 40? Because that next 1 minute candle was kind of sharp, right? It did like a sharp 20. So like even if I held off for like a second, that could push it to like 2 point something %. Maybe more. Very nice. All right, so let me add this onto my monthly PNL here. 1,380 plus 83.82. Put me at 86.58. Damn, it's really playing with those sellers there, that entry point. It went back in for another retest. It's trying to shake them all off, because remember, once this thing starts to tumble, you still have this 4-hour range down here to come and retest the bottom of the lows, the bottom of the accumulation. That's where it's ultimately heading. That's why I think, like, you know, when I'm done with the chart, maybe I'm gonna be not looking at the chart for the next hour, and I'm expecting next, when I look at the chart, that it's coming down, that we're still starting to move down. That's what I'll be expecting. If it moves up, I gotta go and see why to move up, because that would make sense to me. I'm expecting it's still gonna move down. At least we got the first target here, but like 40.38, and then keep going. See, it's like it's finally moving from point A. So this is gonna be the inception of the move, because now in hindsight, what you're gonna see later is you're gonna see price do this potentially, right? And then you gotta ask yourself, how could I have caught this move? That's what we always ask ourselves when we see like a move happen. We see, how could I have caught this move? How could I have caught this move? This was the true inception. That was that Asia session move. That was like Asia session. It accumulated and set up from the previous day market close into the Asia. That Asia confirmed the entry there. You see, now it's coming down. It's just gotta fiddle with these positions as markets typically do. But you see, it's like once you understand that markets typically do that, like the next thing to solve now is whether you play the victim and complain that it's not doing what you want it to do, or you trade it for what it is. You know, you're always gonna have those two options, chat. You always got an option. We can either complain about this and that, or you take control of it and say, you know, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of having profitable trades go into losing positions. So let me change something. Because you know that one thing about the market is it always gives you the same result until you change something. That's why profitable traders remain profitable and losing traders remain losing traders. Because it just moves the way it moves. And it's not that it's going to change the way it moves. So you got to accept it for the way it moves. And your life becomes so much easier. You know, like when you think about even all the people who give you like a headache in your life, and as much as you try and help them, and you just one day wake up and accept they are who they are, man, you got to have like a weight lifted off you. You know, because it's not your job to change someone else or to change something else that you cannot change. That's not your job. You accept it for what it is and you move forward. Stress-free. That's what we call stress-free. Stress-free life, stress-free wife, stress-free trading. Simple. Life is very simple. Beautiful. Now it's still gonna move down over here. Does your order flow connect to a broker? It connects directly to the CME group, not a broker. This is a DX feed. So directly to the futures market. Because you know, like a broker, you're gonna depend on the liquidity provider, the kind of information you get. But this is the real futures data coming in, because you know, like forex is not providing this data. Forex is a simulation of futures. So this is the real data over here. But forex and futures, they're gonna all move the same, correct? Like in terms of gold spot and GC. Hey, what's up, Ragnar? Now we bleed. Bleed, Goldie, bleed. Now we bleed. How many more pips we got? 40 pips, 50 pips, 50 more pips, 50 more pips. Let's go. Just a bit more. It's in distribution. It actually already had a re-entry right here. We got a re-entry model. We'll cover this over the weekend in the simulation. Not the best looking one, but there was like a small one here. It's not really good because the wicks are long. It's gotta take a few candles to break it, but yeah, it tried to set up here to get a continuation. Let it know again. Can I sell now after price has tested the 40-50 level? 40-50? Yeah, this is a shotgun play. You can sell now as a shotgun play. This is a shotgun entry right over here. That's like a shotgun entry. So you see, you're taking a shotgun entry, expecting the higher time frame to fill the range. This is gonna be, I think, on the 30, on the 1 hour, but that's gonna be that next entry confirmation because price right now is in distribution. But you know, I'm pretty sure you missed it now. I'm pretty sure you missed it now. But price is in distribution. The reason you missed it is because it's not your trade. Distribution. Here. So you've already kind of gotten the direction for price to move. And we start getting direction all the way from up over here. So you see price currently is in distribution. So when price is in distribution, I'm going to write it here. When price is in distribution, you have a higher probability it keeps moving in that direction. That's all that it means. Vic, recommend me a movie to enjoy my profit. I want to watch this movie on Prime Video. Oh, wait. Let me just recommend you one that I already watched. I watched Supergirl. That was the most recent. That was the most recent movie that I watched was Supergirl. Watch Rounders. 1990 something, I think. Watch Rounders. Watch Rounders. It's a poker movie. There's a new Mandalorian and Grogu. I watched Supergirl yesterday. Yeah, you can go watch Spider-Man, but you gotta go to the theater for that one. How was Odyssey? I'm going in the last week that they screen it, because if you look at the cinemas right now, they're like super packed. But on the last week, it's gonna be more or less packed. But yeah, this is definitely a movie you're gonna watch in the cinema. It's Odyssey, I guess. But you know what I recently realized? Man, I recently realized Apple TV and Prime Videos is goated. Got goated shows on there. Very nice shows. You know, Netflix is garbage. I think like Prime TV, Prime Video, which is Amazon, and Apple TV got really good low-key shows. I'm the type of guy that if you're gonna watch a movie with me, I've already watched them all. So I really have to go into the rabbit hole to find something to watch. So I even started looking at HBO. I started looking at Disney. Everything on Rotten Tomatoes, just so I can find something, you know? I'm like an addict. I'm like a crackhead when it comes to movies. So I would like watch all of them. Old movies, new movies. Indie movies. Exit 8 was good. It's a Japanese thriller. You might enjoy it. It's kind of like slow paced. Or watch Alive. Alive is also another Japanese thriller, I think. It's about zombies. I think that was pretty good. Watch Alive. A live movie. This is how it looks. With some guy who is living in an apartment, and then the zombie apocalypse, and he's seeing it outside of his apartment. Like, that's how it starts. All right, let's see. Delta right now is a 320. Yeah, that's why I mean, like, the Delta is very off as the monthly is coming to a close over here. Yeah, Vikings is good. I watched a bit of Vikings. Amazing year, man! What an amazing year for movies. 2026. We also got the new Resident Evil coming out. They've just been releasing bangers on bangers this year. Such a good year. We had Backroom. We had so many freaking movies. The Passenger. Obsession, which is insane. You know, Obsession made like, how much it make, chat? Like $450 million, and it cost only $700,000 to make. Insane. Odyssey costs, I think, $250 million to make, which is what like normally movies would cost. You know, movies such a great avenue for laundering money. Maybe there was a lot of money being laundered. That's why we had a lot of good movies this year. You know, there's so many things you gotta think of. Like, when you have a lot of money, you're gonna have a lot of problems with that money. So you gotta launder it. This is not financial advice. This is just all entertainment purposes over here. Like the Singaporean business guy who invested in Wolf of Wall Street, laundered all his stolen money. All the politicians on the board on the Wolf of Wall Street. Hey, your president's name might be on there. Just look on that scene when there's like Jerome Belfort sitting in front of a board, a whiteboard full of names, politicians' names. I think Epstein's name is on that list, probably. Nah, I'm joking. But yeah, chat, I think I'm done for the day. I am no longer taking any more positions. You will no longer see me fight the market, as I have gotten everything that I needed to get from the market to end my week over here. I will be seeing you in the mentorship on Saturday or Sunday. We're going to run a simulation and do these concepts and really, really dive into those entries a little bit more. So I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I will see you next week. Adios.
Just like we're ready. Like you like that. You never ask me if I'm happy or sad. Just like we're ready. Like you like that. You never ask me if I'm happy or sad. Just like we're ready.